Have you ever reached a goal you thought would change your life, only to feel more lost, more alone, more empty than before? You got the promotion, the applause, the recognition, and yet something's missing. You're not alone. This feeling is more common than we think, and it has a root, one that the Buddha pointed to over 2,500 years ago. This is the story of success, the illusion of fulfillment, and the truth hidden beneath all our achievements. Welcome to Clarity Mind. Today, we will explore why we feel empty after success through the timeless teachings of Buddha. This is not a guide to more success. It's a path to meaning, peace, and awakening. Topic 1. The trap of craving. Let us begin with craving, what the Buddha called tanha. Tanha is not just desire. It is clinging, an emotional hunger that cannot be truly satisfied. It is the voice in our mind that whispers, "Once I get this, I will be happy." You see, we chase success thinking it will silence that voice. We imagine a moment when the applause, the money, or the status will finally make us whole. But what happens? We get there and the voice is still there. It has moved the goalpost. Now it wants more. This is the trap of craving. It is never ending. It tricks us into believing that fulfillment lies just ahead, just one achievement away. But no matter how fast we run, the finish line moves. According to the Buddha, craving is the root of all suffering. It is not the object of our desire that causes pain, but our attachment to it, our belief that we must have it in order to be happy. So, when we feel empty after success, it is not because we failed. It is because we misunderstood the nature of fulfillment. We chased shadows, and when we caught them, we found our hands were still empty. The solution? Not to kill desire, but to understand it, to see it clearly for what it is, and in that seeing to let it go. Not with force, but with wisdom. This is the beginning of freedom. Topic 2. The myth of the self, anatta. Now we turn to one of the most profound teachings of the Buddha, anatta, the doctrine of non-self. What does this mean, and how does it relate to success? Let us reflect deeply. Who is the one that wants to succeed? Who is the one that feels proud or empty when the goal is achieved? We say, "I achieved this. I built that. I am successful." But the Buddha challenges us to ask, who is this I? He taught that the self is not a fixed thing. It is a collection of processes, thoughts, sensations, memories, emotions, all flowing, ever changing. There is no permanent entity behind these processes. Just like a river, the mind flows moment to moment. We cannot find a solid me in it. Yet, we build our identities around this illusion. We say, "I am this kind of person. I have this title. I have achieved this success." But what happens when that title is lost? When the applause fades? When the role ends? The illusion collapses, and we feel empty. This is not a punishment. It is an invitation to see that what we thought was me was never solid to begin with. When we release the need to maintain an image, we begin to taste a deeper peace. A freedom that is not dependent on what we achieve, but on how we perceive. Understanding anatta helps us loosen the chains of ego. We no longer need to prove ourselves to feel worthy. We no longer fear loss because there is no permanent self to lose. This is the essence of spiritual maturity. Topic 3. Impermanence, anicca, and the high of success. We now explore anicca, impermanence, another foundational truth taught by the Buddha. All things that arise pass away. This includes pleasure, praise, excitement, even success. When we finally reach a goal, we experience a rush. It feels like joy, but what it often is relief. Relief that the journey is over. Relief that we proved ourselves. But then the moment passes. The joy fades. The silence returns. And in that silence, the mind becomes restless again. It wants a new pursuit, a new problem to solve, a new mountain to climb. This is the cycle of anicca. The highs are temporary. So are the lows. Everything is in flux. The Buddha did not teach this to make us despair. He taught it so that we might stop clinging. If we know that every experience will change, we stop depending on any one of them for our peace. We stop chasing the high of success. Instead, we learn to rest in awareness, to observe the rise and fall of emotions, achievements, even identities. And in doing so, we find a peace that does not rise and fall, a joy not based on the next success, but on presence itself. This is not resignation, it is wisdom. Topic 4. Shunyata, emptiness as awakening. Let us now consider the idea of emptiness. In Sanskrit, this is shunyata, a central concept in Mahayana Buddhism. At first glance, emptiness sounds like despair, like nothingness. But in truth, it is liberation. Shunyata means that all things are empty of fixed, independent existence. It does not mean things do not exist. It means they do not exist in the way we think they do. Success is empty. It has no inherent meaning. It means what we make it mean. The same success can bring joy to one person and anxiety to another. It is not the event, but the mind that interprets it. So when you feel empty after success, it may be your soul realizing that the thing you chased was never the real source of peace. The teaching of Shunyata invites us to drop our rigid stories, to stop clinging to forms, and in that letting go, to experience reality as it is fluid, dynamic, spacious. It is in this spaciousness that awakening happens, not as a dramatic event, but as a quiet seeing. You are not the role you play. You are not the name you carry. You are awareness itself, empty of identity, yet full of potential. This is not something to believe. It is something to see, to experience. And in that experience, the search ends. Not because you found what you were looking for, but because you realized you were never lacking. Topic 5. Redefining fulfillment through Dharma. Finally, let us speak of Dharma, the way, the inner path. If outer success cannot fulfill us, what can? The Buddha pointed to the Dharma not as a religion, but as a natural law, a way of living in alignment with truth. True fulfillment, he taught, does not come from getting more. It comes from letting go, from living with wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness. When we live the Dharma, we shift our focus from self to service, from achievement to awareness, from craving to contentment. We begin to ask different questions. Not what can I get, but what can I give? Not how can I prove myself, but how can I see clearly? This shift dissolves the emptiness, because we are no longer trying to fill a hole. We are recognizing that the hole was never real. Fulfillment becomes a state of being, not an outcome. A presence, not a possession. In this space, every action becomes sacred. Even the smallest gesture, done with awareness, becomes meaningful. This is not about abandoning goals. It is about transforming our relationship to them. We still build, we still create, but not to complete ourselves, only to express what is already whole within. This is the Dharma, the way back to truth. At the end, we came to know you were never meant to feel full from outer success alone. That emptiness you feel is sacred. It is not a problem. It is a calling, a call to return inward, to awaken, to live from truth. Let Buddha's teachings remind you, you are not broken. You are not behind. You are simply waking up. And in that awakening is the deepest success of all. May this exploration offer you comfort, clarity, and courage. May it inspire you to practice with sincerity, to live with awareness, and to meet each moment, this one and the last, with an open heart. Thank you for joining us here at Clarity Mind. If this video resonated with you, please subscribe, share, and explore more of our meditative journeys. Until next time, may all beings be free, may all beings be at peace.